clinic. Musicians Clinic. And they provide health care services to musicians that don't have health care otherwise. And they're very busy, and they're very overworked, and they're very understaffed, and they're very underfunded. They've lost recently their physical therapist. They've lost their dental plan. They have a lot of musicians with diabetes issues. So they have all kinds of issues related to that. And so we're let me get rid of this phone. So we're trying to help them, and we've made an alliance with the American College of Sports Medicine. Those are the sports medical professionals that take care of high school and college football, basketball, sports teams. And so they've agreed to come into our environment and try to treat musicians and artists as well. The same fellow or person who deals with the high school, college basketball team could also deal with the high school and college orchestra and band, because any of you who play know that musicians get injured a lot all the time, and especially guitar players are going to have musculoskeletal issues. Any string player or piano player is going to have carpal tunnel and tendon issues. These are going to be very common, and everybody's going to get them. So we want to show how we can prevent those, how we can be rehabilitated from those, and also just general wellness and health issues. So that's going to be a big announcement with all kinds of national organizations in March. But today, I paid a visit to the musicians clinic, and learned a lot. And I brought somebody with me today to talk to you about it. Just tell you what they do, how they do it, what they need, and they're going to need people to help as interns. They need people to help with social networking, the Facebook and the Twitter and that kind of thing. And they're going to need people to help with physical stuff. So our nursing program is also, I hope, going to be involved with them as well. So please welcome Stacy Morigeau. I misspelled your name.
Close enough.
Morigeau is Stacy's name. Have a seat, Stacy. Stacy's the program coordinator for the musicians clinic. Tell us about it. When was it started, and what do you do?
Well, I do a lot of stuff for the clinic right now. The clinic was founded in 1998, and the Musicians Assistance Foundation was formed shortly after Katrina, and that's pretty much the fiscal agent for the clinic and for our gig fund.
What's your budget?
Right now, it's roughly just over $1 million.
How many people do you serve?
2,000 plus.
Really?
That's not a lot, if you think about it. In a city with musicians, we service musicians, tradition bearers, so that's Mardi Gras Indians, social aid and pleasure club. If you work at a club, you can get treated, but we have only 2,000 plus. So there's how many people here, even just in this classroom, that's not a whole lot.
Well, how do you become eligible for it?
You do need to prove that you have been working as a musician, flyers, sometimes it's a YouTube link, anything from a club that you've played at. For myself, I haven't gone yet, which I should, but I just need to prove that I have worked for the clinic or for the Musicians Assistance Foundation.
I see.
I've also sell merchandise for bands, so before I even got this job, I was eligible.
Is there an age limit? I mean, a certain age to?
We try and
18?
serve all the families as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't think infants really we can cover right now. We don't have the capabilities. Okay. But teenage and up.
Well, the doc told me that they lost their physical therapist because the physical therapist couldn't pay the malpractice insurance of $10K a year. So if we can raise the $10K, then you could get your physical therapist back,
yep.
Right? Let's start a Kickstarter account and raise the $10K, right? Would y'all give $1 each to something like that? And maybe 10,000 of your friends would do the same thing?
Yeah, it's really not that hard, but like you said, we lost our federal grant that was, came after Katrina, and it was let me make sure I get this right, the Primary Care Access Stabilization Grant.
Whoa.
And that made up 90% of our funding. And
you lost it?
Well, it ended.
Oh,
And it wasn't just for our clinic, it was for clinics all throughout the region.
I see.
So it was funding a whole bunch of clinics. We are a little safe. It was 90% of our budget at the time, and it still is. We are a little bit better off than some of the other clinics that don't have anything beyond that. I mean, that was their funding. They don't get donations. They don't have benefits. They don't have. So we do have a small base that we can still build on.
Where do you usually raise your money from? I mean, who gives money to you besides the government?
We hold benefits. We just did one around Jazz Fest. I don't know how many of you were here. It was down on the Bayou too. It was JoJo Herman from Widespread Panic. This is, yeah, this was the clinic is his baby. So he brought in musicians from all over, including local musicians, and it was about 6 hours of music following his set at Jazz Fest. We were able to raise probably $80,000
From that one event?
from that one event. We had a VIP area as well as general admission ticket sales.
Should do that more often.
We are planning another one.
Yeah.
Shh.
One a year.
We may, yeah, we're working on that. HBO Treme was also big in helping us this year. They also did a silent auction for us at their premiere. We have donors that come in. Herman Leonard just recently passed away. He's a photographer, and in lieu of flowers and whatnot, his family made the Musicians Clinic his charity. Please send in his honor. So we've received a little bit of money from that as well. So as musicians pass, or people getting married, anniversaries, birthdays, they will make us.
That's it.
What else do we have?
Now, any of the people in this audience, say, I guess 18 to 22, would they be eligible for your clinic if
Yes.
they needed help?
Yes.
Really? So they just walk in? Or
They have to make an appointment.
Just
You have to
call?
call in. You have to call. I've got like flyers in our newsletters and whatnot. I don't have a lot for everybody, but I have enough. There's a phone number on here, and you make an appointment. You might not get an appointment tomorrow.
But it's not about how much money you make.
No, definitely not.
That's interesting.
About 80% of the people we do serve, however, are musicians, make $15,000 a year. That's not a whole lot of money.
No, that's probably
That's way below federal poverty guidelines. So
So they really can't afford
they can't
health
afford it. No, they can't afford it. When you make an appointment, it's sometimes going to be it might be a month out before you actually get in. But once you get there, you're going to talk to one of the nurses, nurse practitioner, and a social worker, and they're going to try and figure out what your issues are. You might not have, you just might want to go in for a physical. But they need to talk to you first to find out. Preventative care is a huge.
That's a major focus for you.
Major focus.
Prevention.
Prevention, yeah. Like you said, a lot of our musicians are diabetic. They have mouth issues, and if you're a horn player, you can't play, and therefore you can't make money. I have a friend who's a drummer right now who was fixing I think it was his refrigerator or something like that, sliced open his hand, and he's been out of work now for probably a month or two. Just getting healing, but that's his income. So
Now, Sweet Home New Orleans could help people like that too, but they're helping with housing. And stuff.
they're helping with housing, yes. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So, what's your most immediate need? I mean, do you need somebody to help you in the office, or do you need?
We were talking about that a little bit today. There's some things that would be simple as database with our donors. There's a lot of steps right now that might be able to be made easier, but we need to document every donation that comes in. We do need help with, like I'm in the middle of my day, I'm getting stuff from Bethany, who's the president director of the clinic. She's sending me YouTube videos saying, post this on the Facebook page, or put these pictures up. And we all get them at random times in the office, and we don't always have time to go do that. So it's simple as that. We are looking to do hopefully electronic press kits. We don't have anything like that on our website. It's pretty basic right now.
Well, we can help you with the EPK for
Yeah.
sure, and there may be somebody in this room that help you with the internship problem. If you work for that organization, obviously those hours would count towards your internship requirements. So they would, if you needed that, you can certainly avail yourself of it. Otherwise, they just need help.
We just need help, yeah.
That-
We're in the middle of writing grants as well, trying to get funding.
Well, we built this website, Athletes in the Arts. It's being tweaked right now, so Alex is working on it. But we're going to bring down some of these performing arts medical professionals, and they're going to actually bring musicians here, and you can see how they treat them. Because there's people in this room that have medical issues associated with what you do, what you play, and how you sing or whatever, and they can definitely give you relief. These guys tend to, say, the Boston Symphony, or they tend to rock stars for vocal purposes, or opera stars. So there are a lot of, every professional musician is going to have some sort of problem in this area. And so these people are trying to deal with it. There's so many medical people that are trying to help, you know. And these sports medical people, there's 10,000, 12,000 in that one group, and there's probably 6 or 7 other groups. So there's 100,000 people probably. And if we can marshal those forces and create a website that provides resources so that one of their clients who's on tour and has got a medical issue has somebody to call when they go to St. Louis, right? So that's kind of one of the things we're trying to do. And we're going to be creating a lot of video on that and putting it on that site, so you'll see it soon enough.
Yeah, that would be great.
So,
I know we got medical records electronically right now at the clinic. So, you know, like John Clary once got sick overseas, and he was able to go to see a local doctor where he was at, and they were able to provide his medical records like that. So there's the documentation is there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, part of our deal is we're supposed to serve our community, and this is a pretty good way of doing it. And it's something that needs to be done. So if you feel obliged and you can help out, then you can talk to Stacy after we're done. What else can you tell us about it? I mean, how many people are involved in the staff? How many people are on staff?
Our staff is pretty small. We were actually just trying to figure that out for a grant today. There are 3 of us that are in the office, the business office portion. That's the NOMAF, New Orleans Musicians Assistance Foundation. And there are probably 3 paid medical people on staff, or RN, nurse practitioner, and social worker. And then the rest are all volunteered or donated services.
Okay, so now you've got 1 full-time physician, right?
Yes.
That's Dr. What's her last
Catholic, oh man.
French.
It's Lepere.
Lepere.
Yes, thank you.
name? Wasn't that bad.
I should know that.
Yeah, you should know
But
that.
I mean, the pronunciation being partly French, but no, I do that. I'm very horrible at that.
So you
yes.
have a social worker, a physician, and office staff.
Yes.
And the facilities are provided by LSU?
Yes, it's at the old Baptist on
Right.
Napoleon right there.
So now LSU has a healthcare clinic. Do you refer people to them as well?
When we need to, yes.
Okay.
There are times when people come in and they need lab work and we can't do it. So we'll have to refer them to other places.
I see.
Yes.
We know now in this country, I learned recently that the Cleveland Clinic, anybody here from Cleveland? There's a major musicians clinic there, and there's also a major musicians clinic in Toronto. And then there's these specialty groups. The dancers have a lot of groups, you know, because dancers are obviously going to have terrible issues. And so there's quite a bit of stuff on that. I'll send around I'll post some websites for you on those subjects. But it's a major issue, and a lot of people get hurt, like I say. So these people are trying to help the people in this city who can't afford the help. But even the people who can afford it are still going to get hurt. And there are ways of preventing these injuries and knowing when it is you have a problem and who do you go to. When is it going to get serious enough to do something about it, and what do you do? If you're like me, sometimes you try to wait things out, and that would be the wrong thing to do.
That's what a lot of our musicians do.
Yeah, typical.
I mean, that's that whole stigma is.
Yeah. When we brought the Preservation Hall Jazz Band in front of these sports medical professionals a couple of years ago, there were 80, 100 doctors in this room, and these guys played, and then they started talking about their issues. And their issues were fairly not uncommon, but so easy to fix. Like the drummer had a thumb that he couldn't control it. He's a drummer. And the doctor said, well, a shot of cortisone will fix that. And all of a sudden, problem gone away. And he's had this problem for 10 years. And then he talked about how he thought he was having a heart attack when he was playing one time, but he didn't want to go to the emergency room because that would almost prove that he was having a heart attack. So it's contradictory. You know, it's a little bit of a problem if people are going to have that kind of superstitious approach to their own health. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing we've got to deal with here.
Yes.
But this is even in public schools, you know, you lose a lot of kids in sixth grade band and orchestra, you know, who just get injured. And you can imagine if you're in the band that plays for football. I mean, they won't let the football players go on the field unless they're physically ready to do that. But the band guys, they'll run them up and down the field all day long, whether they're ready or not. So it's kind of a problem. So do you deal with any of those schools at all, or is it just
not
people
a
coming
whole lot? People coming in, but that is the outreach to getting the musicians to know what we do. Some of them don't know what we do, or that we exist.
So what can we do to help you with that?
We're working on a whole outreach program right now, working on grants. Sometimes it might be just as easy as talking to a musician.
Well, it seems like if you posted notices in the clubs where they perform.
That might work. I know a musician right now who's been around for a long, long time, and I constantly will ask him if he's available to do stuff for us, benefits, whatnot, and give us a quote, something simple as so we can put it out in our thank you letters, and he says, well, I've never used the clinic, I'm not eligible. Well, he has health care, which you can, if you have insurance, you can still use the clinic.
I see.
Yes, a lot of people don't know that.
Also, it's true that a lot of medical providers they don't understand the injuries of musicians and artists. So these people are a little more specialized. And that's why the nursing school over here, which is a pretty successful school, that's why they're interested in it, because they have never even considered the injuries and the physical problems that are related to the performing arts. But more and more, that's becoming a specialty field because there's so many people engaged in it. How many guitar players are there? And they're all going to have some kind of problem. So it's more and more a topic of conversation. Anybody have anything to say about this? Any questions? Yeah, John.
You spoke earlier about the focus on preventative care. I was wondering, from your experience, if you had to deal with the nature of a working musician's lifestyle and how that affects their health. I mean, I'm sure there are, whether they be stigmas or just some sort of association with the working musician, some of those lifestyle choices, be they just by association, can be pretty detrimental.
Yes, they can be, yes. We do work with, for just one basic, is the Louisiana, or the tobacco-free Louisiana. I'm sure you guys know about all the smoke-free clubs and whatnot. I mean, a musician may not smoke, but if you're at a club filled with a bunch of smokers, you're getting that secondhand smoke. We try and educate the musicians. Late-night gigs. You're going to a late-night gig, your schedule's all screwed up. And it's simple things. Hydrate. Keep yourself hydrated while you're playing on stage. And I'm not talking booze.
Yeah,
I'm talking water. I'm talking water. Bring a snack of some sort, a healthy snack. Because you're eating late night. Sometimes it might not be till 2 or 3 in the morning. The only places that are open are fast food or diners. And you start eating all these fatty foods, and then you go right to bed. And you're asleep till 2, 3 in the afternoon sometimes, and then get up and do it all over again.
And it's easy to acquire those habits
when
you're young, and when you get older, you stick with the same
You can't do that.
So that's a bad deal.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who are musicians, and they'll invite me over to dinner, and I know I'm not going to eat till midnight. And this is a normal evening for them at home. And it's a big meal. This is, 2, 3-course meal. And I'm like, I can't do this. I love you, but I can't do it. So we try and get those kind of messages out to the musicians.
I was a trumpet player, and so, you know, many times we had to play a gig, or when I was on tour or something, and you eat and you play. Well, you know, that stuff that you're spitting into that instrument is going to grow inside that instrument. And actually, it could cause you problems. It could have lung problems. It could get all kinds of issues. It's pretty nasty. And I'll bet you that most horn players, the story in the NPR story was a guy who had a very serious lung issue and had been playing this dirty trombone for 9 years and never cleaned the thing out. There was stuff going in there that was growing in Katrina refrigerators. I mean, come on. We don't want that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to breathe that stuff in and suck it into your lungs, what do you think is going to happen to you? So it's kind of like they don't know how to clean out their instruments. Hey, wipe out your instrument when you get done with it.
Every time.
And if you're going to eat, brush your teeth because you're going to spit that stuff right into the instrument.
Or onto your audience.
But it's a strange scene. It really is. But that's the way it's going. So if musicians don't know they have to clean out their instrument to stay healthy, then what else are they going to not know? And we all have been on the road, and eating on the road, try that. I mean, what is it, Wendy's baked potato? It's the safest thing you can eat. What are you going to eat on the road? So it's a real problem, and every musician who travels will tell you that. But that increases the need to be disciplined about how you approach your health. You guys are not really thinking about that now, but you will. And the people that you're going to be serving are dealing with it. So that's the issue. Bethany Boltman, who founded the clinic, right?
Yes.
And
one of them.
who's quite a character, told me that I think it's 86% of the musicians that they take care of have a 6th grade education or less. So it's another issue altogether, right? So you can see there's compounded issues here. And so how do we make it better? One way to make it better is through information, providing information on the internet or on television. Another way is to provide services. And so we're going to try to do all of that. And just the awareness of the issues, like even the sports medical doctors are not aware of the issues. And they should know, and they don't. So it's nobody knows until you tell them. And so now we're going to tell them. So if y'all can help, if anybody wants to help with that, getting that message out, or just in your own friends, talking to your own friends, just do that, please. And anything else you want to say about it?
Oh boy.
Any other questions? To stir the imagination here.
Anything?
I've found from teaching guitar that people that develop carpal tunnel tendonitis frequently aren't aware as it comes on.
Yeah, right.
It's mostly due to the extension of the wrist,
Right.
hyperextension or flexion. But you know, there's not like a lot of warning.
Right.
You just feel a little numbness. It's not like something that really hurts. But the best thing you can do is to take a break.
Right. Now, that's a hard thing to do, right? If you got the gig, what are you going to do? Not play the gig? Yeah, you're not going to play the gig. But now you lost the money, or you made somebody mad. But there's no reason to risk kind of permanent damage just because of that gig, because you won't be able to play it again either. Anything else? You know, I'm going to invite this guy down here. He's a major league doctor. He's very smart. He built his own iPhone app for an African drum or something. The guy's like too smart. And he will take the guitar players. We're going to do a whole module. We're planning these videos for 10 modules for guitar players. And we'll bring, you play guitar, you have a problem, we'll put you right here, and he's going to show you how to deal with it. And how, John makes a good point, how do you know when you need help, and how do you know what help you need? You know, it's, okay, I feel bad, or my hand hurts. Well, was that enough? What do you need to know? So I just was fascinated talking to this guy. And so we'll videotape all those and put those on this website and on their website, and now anybody can avail themselves of that information. That's one thing you can do, right? You didn't know till I told you, now I told you, now you know. So that's the way I look at it with just about everything. Anything else?
No, just, you know, with the interns, we're working on grants right now like crazy. We did get some federal funding back. We found this out late last week. However, it won't cover dental, so we're trying to find grants to cover dental work right now because it's very, very important. It won't cover vision.
Right.
Probably won't cover referrals. So there's a lot of stipulations within this grant, federal funding that we're going to now be getting.
We need $60K for the dental plan, or 80.
80. Yeah.
So that's just to service those people who, some of whom have never been to a dentist. So, it's kind of like a pretty strict need here. So we're just going to try to do something about it. We do what we can do.
I'm about to start working on a grant tomorrow that's only going to be $5,000, and the focus is going to be on foot care for diabetics.
Well,
I've
already made a call about the 10K for the medical malpractice insurance,
Uh-huh.
so I think I'm going to get that. But, we've also got the Donnelly Center here. I talked to people in communications, and the Donnelly Center, which is a part of communications, is a group that does promotion and advertising for nonprofits on a gratis basis. So they've said that they will help.
Oh, wonderful.
So if we get the communications school and our nursing school and our music school involved in this, we have something, we have some critical mass here. We think we can actually make something happen. And there may be others that we can bring in as well. So any other questions about this? Yes, sir.
No.
Anything.
It's anything. It's anything. You were talking about your musicians from Preservation Hall coming in and talking about their ailments. Bethany, I'm not going to say it as Bethany would have because it's a little colorful, but she has mentioned before that in this hour-long interview session that they go into with the nurse practitioner, sometimes the musicians don't say right away what their issue is, if they even have an issue. And, oh, no, I haven't been to a doctor in 10, 12, ever, years, whatnot. And in the last 5 minutes, they're going to say, I've been peeing blood for the past year. That's not good.
No.
So this is one of the things is musicians need to know they can come soon. And it's not just for musical-related injuries.
Yeah, the best thing for everybody in this room, and for certainly her clients, are have a physical every year. That's the way that works. And then you can discover the issues if you're not going to just show up when you've got them. And I can tell you that a lot of people are doctor averse, right? So it is a big problem. That is to say, the help can be available and they still not avail themselves of it. And a lot of guys show up and avail themselves of it, and they don't take the medication. They spend a lot of time just calling people, reminding them to take their medicine.
Yeah.
So, I got somebody telling me to take my medicine, but it's like, and it's a pain in the butt to get somebody telling you to do stuff. But, that's what we need to do. So maybe there's some people that can help us communicate with people about taking their medication. If you're diabetic and you don't treat that, you don't deal with that, you can definitely go blind and you can definitely lose your limbs, your legs, your feet. It's not good. Those jazz people in here, Ella Fitzgerald had that problem. She had both of her legs amputated before she died, and she had diabetes. She was the greatest jazz singer of her generation. So it's like even people who should have a place to know better don't know better. So that's what we need to help. Mm-hmm. So any other comments, questions, observations? Yes, sir. Vocalists have all kinds of problems with singing. And Phil Frohnmeyer, who teaches in the college, has treated a lot and worked with a lot of major singers. And Aaron Neville came to see him, and I can bring somebody down here from New York who treats all the famous pop stars and opera singers in New York. Anybody, just some names that are just off the charts, the top people. And he's the guy. And there's one guy in this city who's the vocal guy. I don't know his name, but I asked this fellow in New York, and he told me, do you know who the vocal doctor is? But this is a very big problem. And if you sing with injury, you will definitely permanently damage your voice. If Bono can take off, or whoever is, the Aerosmith dudes, the Tyler, he took off for a while because he damaged his voice. You scream like that, you're going to damage your voice too. So they need to take care of it, and there are ways of going about it. But it's almost something that's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. You're going to sing regularly, you're going to have a problem. You're going to play regularly, you're going to have a problem. So the idea is, how do you prevent it? How do you make your muscular structure such that you can withstand the tension and the input on this body of yours. Listen, you're an artist. You're a young musician. You're the mechanism for the delivery of your art is your body. So to the extent that you care about your art, you have to care about that. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So we need to convey that message more. This group here has more chances of changing the problems that are endemic in your age group than any group, because it's hard to reach people about what they should eat and how should they exercise and what they should drink or not. It's just like it's hard. But if you're an artist, it's different, because now you have a greater awareness and you also have a greater responsibility, I think. But enough of my preaching. So, any other comments about this problem we've got?
I do have one thing. I don't have to, I will try and post the link, but if you do have injuries already, on my website, which is johnrankin.net, under the links, the top link takes you to a page at Dartmouth called Musicians and Injuries, which is a list by injuries. Like if you think you have carpal, you click on carpal, it'll take you to a series of articles, books that are published on it. It's a huge listing. It's called Musicians and Injuries, but for now, you can find it on johnrankin.net. I'll send it.
That's a good one. Let's post
Yeah.
that on the forum account. Yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else? All right. Yes, sir.
With hearing being such a big issue for all musicians, do you offer something like earplugs for them to wear during performances?
Now, they used to have this audio testing mechanism. They lost it in Katrina. So $55,000 worth of equipment went down the drain. In this group right here, 18% of you as freshmen came in with hearing loss. Now, I want to start hearing testing here. And because I think it's important that you know, it's not just that you know, you can put an oscillator on in the studio course, and Jay's going to tell you that, do you hear this frequency at 20,000 cycles? Do you hear it at 18,000 cycles? And you can know then kind of roughly what your hearing is. But that doesn't show you what you should do about it. One more thing, if you're going to be in the presence of 80 to 90 dB of sound for 2 hours or more, you're going to suffer hearing loss permanently. Okay, it doesn't grow back. Yeah.
Is there somewhere within a reasonable distance where you can get musicians earplugs? Because I've definitely interested in getting some, but I don't know where to get.
Well, there are a couple of ways. You can get the cheap ones, even have them at the library, but you can also have them made.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So why don't it's ENT, right? Ear, nose, and throat doctor is going to be the person. LSU clinic.
They'll probably, yeah, they can.
The custom molded plugs keep the sound balance the same. In other words, everything's just reduced. If you take regular wax or just even paper towel or whatever, it'll cut the high frequencies,
Right.
not the lows. The custom plugs, you cut a prescribed like 10, 15, or 20 dB amount. But if you sing, it's really hard to use because you have your head resonance.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for singers to use them.
I just talked to a drummer that is active in this city, and he can't hear the musicians next to him. And so he's scared to death, because what do you do? Now, Nick Volz, who's the trumpet teacher here, has torn a muscle in his lip, and now he can't play. And so what is he going to do? Now, the advice is, okay, stop playing. Well, he did stop playing. And that was hard enough to do for 3 months. How do you stop playing if you're a trumpet player for 3 months? Well, you have to really know it's a severe thing to do, because it's kind of like being an athlete. If you stop doing it, you're not going to be as good at it when you start back. So he can go have surgery to the specialist in Toronto and take his chances. And if it works, then his career continues, and if it doesn't work, his career changes. So here's a 35-year-old guy, he just got his PhD, and now what? So he's freaking out. So this is the kind of thing we're dealing with. If these people have potential of making music that changes the world, then we are denied that chance by their injury. So we need to do something about it. And the same for you. So we want you to take care of yourselves. But that's you. But for these people that we're trying to serve, we have to do this. So we'll do our part. Anybody else? So if you can come help her as an intern, please come by and say hello. And if you want to be involved in the social networking stuff, you can let me know. And we're going to be cranking this up in the next few weeks and month. And so you'll have chances to be involved. But go out and enjoy this pretty day. I appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.